African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you all for tuning in to the African Father in America podcast with Simon Javan Okello. I hope you are all doing well. I am doing well, and today I am privileged to be talking to my young brother Jamil Kasirivu, all the way from Kampala, Uganda. Jamil Kasirivu is a young man with a lot of ambition. He just recently graduated in 2019 with a bachelor's degree in business administration, specializing in accounting from St. Lawrence University in Kampala, Uganda. And currently he is working with 40 Days Over 40 Smiles Foundation as one of the people leading the marketing and partnership. During his free time, he loves to listen to music, watching football, and he's a big fan of Liverpool Football Club. I connected with Jamil on LinkedIn. I've been very active on LinkedIn lately. I'm building up my, online presence, as a podcast host, as the founder of One Vibe Africa, and also as a dad. One of the things I love to do is to connect with young people and just have conversations with them. And now with this African Father in America podcast, my goal has been to connect with young men who are Black and of African descent and talk to them about fatherhood, but also talk with fathers and talk with father figures, but also talk with female leaders, musicians, artists, authors that have experiences with Black men and can give us some insights into, some of the challenges, some of the victories that currently Black men and African men in general are going through. So my brother Jamil, thank you again for making the time for us to talk today. I am, broadcasting from Seattle, Washington, and, you typically stay in Kampala, but right now you are mentioning to me that you are in Lowero. Is that right?
Yeah. Can you just paint a picture for somebody who has never been to Uganda before? Paint a picture of, when they land in Uganda, let's say they leave Seattle, Washington, where I am, and they fly to London, and then from London they come direct to Kampala, So the moment they arrive at the airport, can you, give us an idea of where you take them after you pick them up at the airport, and then, imagine that you're telling this story as a young high school student, who has a friend from Seattle, Washington that you've gone to pick up. So just tell us how you do it. Let's say it was your first year in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm here today because I've been lucky enough to be hosted by Okello Sam, who is the CEO and the founder of the African Father in America. Yes, my good brother, you've asked me to paint for you a picture, like for someone who has never been in Uganda, like how it is like basically. Now, Uganda is called the Pearl of Africa because we have a lot which basically brings out the natural beauty of Africa. We have the Lake Victoria, which basically has different fish species. Someone can... Hello?
What kind of fish is in Lake Victoria?
We have the tilapia, Nile perch, we have the silverfish, we have a lot in Lake Victoria. Then, and not only the Lake Victoria, but also we have different wild animals, which are basically not everywhere. Basically, I will say that they are very rare, and it's sometimes you could just find them in Uganda. Those are the zebras, the lions, the elephants, and many more. So, if someone is to come to Uganda, someone can really enjoy the beauty of the country, the vegetation we have. Then the people are very good, are very welcoming. If you come and then you don't basically you've not been in Uganda, you will be welcomed in the best way you couldn't believe that maybe you can find people in this country and they are good and all that. So Uganda, we are made up of around 42 million people. Basically, according to the previous censuses, and then the statistics from the Uganda Statistics Bureau, and so but majorly the major population is in urban centers. That's where you will find more people in Kampala, in major towns like Jinja, Mbale, Hoima, Gulu, Lila, and all those.
That's
yeah.
Right. So let's say you have arrived at the airport and your friend is there to meet you. Paint for us a picture of what you'll take. Will you take a taxi or will you take a bicycle taxi, and where will you take them first?
But if someone arrives, like it's my friend and he has never been in Uganda, like how like the way I can receive him, basically that's your question,
right?
Okay. Now, the major airport we have is in Entebbe International Airport. Of course, if someone arrives, that's where the airplane will land, and then that's where I can pick him or her. And then, basically, if you have your private car, you can use that to pick him up or her. And if not that, at the airport, there's some airport taxis, like which you can use to maybe pick him up and then be driven to any place he or she might want. Basically, most of the people who come to the country, in most cases, when they come and they are so much tired in Entebbe, you might find good hotels around where someone can stay. And if he's to come to Kampala, that's around 32 kilometers from the international airport. And then he can be taken, he or she can be taken to different 5-star hotels. We have Serena Hotel, we have Sheraton, we have many more.
Right. Yeah, I remember, I've been to Uganda a few times myself. I bought a truck there, pickup truck, Toyota Hilux in Uganda, double cabin, maybe 11 years ago.
Okay.
I remember going to this restaurant in downtown Uganda that, it rotates. I don't know if you've seen it or something like that. If you are sitting at the dining table facing, north, before you know it, it will have gone around with you and you'd be facing south before you know it.
I've never seen it. Maybe you said that it's 11 years ago.
It's still there. Yeah, it's still there. We have another thing like that here in Seattle that rotates like that. It's called the Space Needle,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so, share with me about your upbringing, where in Uganda you were born and how life was like when you're being raised as a young boy in Uganda, and just a little bit about that. Share with me, please. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jamil was raised in Wero, but he was born in Wakiso district. I'm the last born. We are four. I have four siblings, with two brothers and one sister. Jamil majorly grew up with his grandmother. When I was around, my mom told me that when I was around 1 year, she brought me to stay with her mother. That's my grandmother. And then when I reached 5, I was taken to UPE, Uganda Universal Primary Education. I don't know whether you've ever heard about it. To start my education, because my brothers had speak day.
Give me 1 moment. Keep going. I'm listening to you. I just have to say something to my daughter here real quick.
Okay. So now, when we went to a speak day, I got interest. I was interested in the event, how other people were dancing, how they were happy, and all that. So now, next year, that was around 1996. Then in 1997, I was taken to school, basically to start my education. I was registered and then started as like a normal kid. I was excited because my elder brothers used to go to school, leaving me at home with my grandmother. And then I was really feeling like I was having a gap, because now these are the people you're playing with, and then when they leave you at home, you feel lonely, and then life is not normal until when they come back. So, but then when it reached my turn to join them, and I was so excited, I cannot forget that moment, because now I saw myself putting on a uniform, then going with them. But barely, I would say that we had no even shoes by then. But to me, I was so happy, because now I'm going to meet new children to really enjoy. I didn't know what education was meaning, but then for me, I just wanted to join them, no matter what. And then when I reached the environment, of course, changed a bit, because now for them, they were in upper classes, and for me, I was just starting. They had to take me to where I was supposed to go, and then they also go to their respective classes. And when I met these children, which we were in the same group, which we are in the same age bracket with, so it was like normal, because now some were crying, some were laughing, some were playing, and all that. So I just started like that, my education. I started like up to P5. That's when maybe I was changed a school, when I was going to P6, because across the line, I'd never met my father before. In that gap, when I was taken to the school, and then as I was studying, going to primary 6, that's when my dad, I saw my dad for the first time, because they told me he had gone to Dubai to work. And then for me, being that I was staying with my grandmother, really, I wasn't maybe pressurizing her to tell me who my dad is and all that, because she was there for us. She was caring, and then she was playing the both roles of the mother and the father. She had those whatever. Right. Those, I would say that she had the capability and and the capacity to be there as the father, and at the same time as the father, not forgetting that she's the grandmother, because sometimes you know how the grandmother treat their whatever grandchildren. They can know if you've done something wrong, they can feel like they may not tell it to you right the way it's supposed to be and all that. So now this is a kind of a person who knew how to put everything right. So I didn't have any kind of a big gap in between the lines, like missing my mother. My mother used to come a bit, like in a year she could come like two, 3 times to visit us, because for her she was then in Kampala working, but then as she was sending maybe the facilitation to us. So now, but the dad, I saw him when I was going to primary 6, and when he came back, he was like, now I have to change my son. My son has to change the school, because I just want to maybe put him in a better school than this. Now I was taken to another school in still Luwero district, but then in Wobblins town. So that's where I studied the primary 6 and primary 7. Then after that, I joined the secondary level of education. Then still.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So all of this time you are in Uganda, right?
Okay.
All of this time you went to primary school in Uganda, in high school, in Kampala.
I studied the primary school in Luwero.
Luwero, okay.
Yeah.
And high school also in Luwero?
Then high school, I studied part of it in Wakiso, and then part of it still in Luwero.
Now, you mentioned that your grandmother acted as your mother and also your father, right?
Yeah.
And this is a pattern that is very common in, even here in America. If you go to African American communities, you find that a lot of fathers are in jail, and a lot of fathers are separated from their children. And also in Kenya, I grew up in the slum myself, and I never grew up very close to my father. But, I was with my mother most of the time. But it's amazing that despite all of that, someone like you, someone like me still was able to come around and, become someone who is contributing to the society. Now, can you just talk to me about, what a father figure means to you, even though you are never raised close to your dad at the early age of your life? What were your experiences with your father, and how valuable was that for you?
For me, I would say that I've really missed a good experience with my father, like he himself. But then I cannot say that I've not been raised with people around me. I've not been groomed to be a good father, because I have really saw people around me trying to put put in me the values of the real father, right, telling me how it should be like to be a good father. What does it mean to be a good father and all that? So to me, I would say that what the father figure means to me, really, first of all, I would say that a good father, not actually saying a good father. A father should be someone who is really providing to the family. A father should be someone who protects the family. You get? No matter what. You need to put your back when it means that this is a family you're looking after. You just don't need to hide yourself if maybe the situation worsens and all that. You need to be there in all circumstances. And then a good father should be someone still who is able to prepare the children for the future, like to prepare well-groomed children for the future. Because now, if he's a boy, he will get married to someone, and if he's not brought up well, the boy will not succeed in his marriage and all that. He will be a kind of a person who is beating a wife and all that. They're always in quarrel and all that. So I'm seeing a father as someone who is like an authority in the family.
You've spoken very highly of fathers. Fathers need to protect the family. Fathers need to be there for the family no matter what. But, right now, there are a lot of things that people say about fathers, especially in Uganda, or even here in America. People say that black fathers are lazy, black fathers are absent. How do you think we can change this story that exists about fathers so that African fathers can be seen the way they are,
Yes, Simon. First of all, I will appreciate all what you're doing, because all this conversation we are doing, I'm seeing it as really a great contribution to really change, because it all starts with doing something.
Right.
If we just remain silent and these issues are not talked about, then we wonder how the next generation is gonna be. So for me, just only creating this platform to share how this should be solved is really a great milestone.
Thank you very much.
So maybe in addition to that, I believe that we just need to find what exactly is causing all this, because we might be trying to solve the symptoms when we don't know what is the root cause.
Right.
Because if we go back and we check in our souls or in our societies, where the biggest problem comes in, basically you'll find that fathers don't have people, or like per se the counselors, like in Uganda. If you're a man and then you go to police maybe to report a case against your wife, the society judges you differently. You get? And then being that
they judge you, do they judge you to be weak?
Yeah, they will judge you. They will judge you to be weak, you're not a man enough and all that.
So to be man enough is to beat your wife so that you don't have to go to the police?
Maybe they will say that either you can beat or you can just keep quiet. But then this is someone who has issues burning, and then is trying not to cause violence, but is going into the policymakers and all that to report or to record a case, and then they would just tell him, "You not serious at all. We have other issues to deal with, and you're just reporting a case against your wife and all that." So you see now it creates that negative image or bad image to most of the fathers out there, to just abandon their families, and then they look for other wives somewhere else, or they can not even marry, but then it's like, I'm done with the family and let me just stay alone and all that. So under that circumstance, you need to maybe look at that in the way that if we get a society where men can go or fathers can go and share their burning issues.
Right.
To maybe come up with solutions, because every challenge or every problem has a solution.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes engaging with one another can help a lot
Right.
than solving everything by yourself.
Yeah, a lot of men are groomed to be strong and to solve it, to be the man of the house. But you become too strong, then it becomes negative energy. It becomes negative energy, and then you start beating up people, and being not being the type of father that is needed in the community. So now we are coming to, towards the end of our conversation. In Uganda there, when you look at the news, you see these anti-racism campaigns that are going on here in the US. And when you look at the state of black people in the world, do you see, that there are ways that we can help each other? Because I think our people are suffering. No matter where we are in the world, you find that we live, in the corners. No matter whether we are African Americans, whether we are in Brazil, where we are Afro-Brazilians, whether we are in Spain, we are all over, and we are taken throughout the world through slavery, and also right now we are migrating, hoping to, get a better living in the diaspora. But many of us know that we suffer in silence out here. And one of the reasons why I started the African Father in America podcast is so that we can connect and start sharing stories beyond our borders, so that we know the conditions of other black men that are all from Africa. So, this is my final question to you. Do you think the condition of black people globally is looking good to you? For example, during the coronavirus pandemic, there were Kenyans and Ugandans that were kicked out of their houses in China. I don't know if you saw that news.
I saw.
In Saudi Arabia, there are, Kenyans and Ugandans who go to Saudi Arabia to work as maids, then they become enslaved. Here in America, there are African Americans that have been here for over 400 years, and their situation has never been better. Young men, even me, here, when somebody sees me, they don't see me as a Kenyan. There's no sign on my forehead saying that this one is a Kenyan. So the way they treat African Americans is the way the police will treat me, and also is the way in the job market I'm treated. So that's why I'm asking this question, just to get your perspective. Considering the fact that you are in Uganda and you've never been to the US or to any of these places I'm describing, right?
Yeah, of course, we see the news, how the racism is going on across the world, and basically the African people, black people. But then, to me, it creates a bad image, because if we are fighting for human rights and equal opportunities to everyone, and to the people whom we think that at least they are a bit civilized and all that, it creates a big gap, you get, towards achieving our the SDGs. Because now, if we are trying to bring the whatever various countries like as to become as a global village, and then we still have such kind of cases being recorded and then not well treated, because there is no justice. Maybe we can say that actions are down there, but when they are brought to light, people get justice. Those ones who are segregated and all that are given equal opportunities when it comes to justice. But that's not the case. And to me, I feel that we can be the whatever, we can be the change we want to see if we bring out our issues to those ones who are concerned, and we are together. Because if we are like more than one, maybe our voice can be heard.
Right.
Unluckily enough, we are also not supporting each other to some extent, because now just imagine you can find a Black American just passing over to a fellow Black American being mistreated, maybe on the street. You get it? And is not concerned, but is forgetting that that one is not happening on him, but maybe tomorrow it will be on him, or actually on his or her children.
Right.
So if we can recognize that a lot has been done on us, and then we bring ourselves together.
So we should
maybe
unite.
If we unite, I think it can be a good move.
Right. Thank you very much. We are coming to an end of our conversation today, and I really appreciate you sharing with me about your upbringing in Uganda, and I forget the name of your city,
Luwero.
Luwero. Yeah. Your upbringing in Luwero, and all the work that you're doing with 40 Days Over 40 Smiles Foundation, and your passion for accounting and business management, and also your community and your love for for music and Liverpool. So to the listeners of the African Father in America podcast, I want to thank you for tuning into my conversation with my young brother Jamil Kasirivu. And I just want you all to know that sometimes it's just good to learn from people who are right in Africa, who are experiencing what we are experiencing from a different perspective, but also people that can share with us what's going on over there in Africa that is related to what is going on here for us. So with that, I want you to follow me on Twitter at Javan Okelo, on Instagram at Simon Javan Okelo, and I just want to thank you for subscribing to the African Father in America on iTunes and Apple Podcast. And, I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze. African Father in America.